And we're live, Garth.
Great. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. This is the final installment in our Project 2051 series of conversations with Val Cambre. She's joining us again. This is our last time. So Val, why don't you bring us up to speed on what we've been talking about so far?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm so glad to be joining you again today. So in this series, we've talked about, we've taken a look at talent strategy in 3 of 4 elements, and the 4th one we'll discuss today. So we talked about retention, hiring the best people. We talked about recruitment, hiring the best people, retention, keeping them, and performance management, how to coach them. So today we're going to talk about capability because we want to make sure we hire the best, we retain the best, and to retain the best, it's about performance coaching. And to performance coach effectively, you really need to assess their capability. So that leads us to today's topic, which is capability and capacity in talent management.
Great. So why don't we start by let's talk about what this means. Is this not just another word for professional evaluation and assessment, or is this something completely different?
It has overlap, but it is different because capability really is an assessment of somebody's skills and experience. It's not so much behaviors. When you get into performance management, you're also encompassing the behaviors that they have in the role. Capability really is identifying, from a learning perspective, training needs in skills. Are they capable in completing certain tasks because they have the knowledge, the skills, and the experience to do it? So it's a little bit different from a performance assessment because a performance assessment is a broader term around their behaviors and contributions to their role.
Okay. Super. Now, how do organizations assess their current people capability, and how is this changing the way our schools work?
Well, there are many ways that organizations assess training capability, assess capability. And one of the things that they do is training needs assessments. So they'll take a look at their current workforce, their labor, their group, their employees, and assess what training needs they have to get the job and to excel in the job, to be able to do very well. So for example, you may have somebody in a role where being very proficient in Excel is something that they need to be capable of to do the job well. And so you may do a training needs assessment where you review their capability and their skills assessment. That's done through questionnaires, that's done through tests, that's done through assessing their work that they've completed. Something that's very effective when you're hiring people is to do training needs assessments at the front end. So if you're hiring someone where writing is a key part of their role, you would embed a test of some kind, an assessment of some kind, where they would have to complete a piece of writing or complete something so that you could see how capable they are. You can assess their capability. So it's done through training needs assessment. It's done through development plans. It's done through coaching to see where they're progressing in their skills. And it's done through their own self-reflection on where they feel that they need more training, more learning. But it's linked that way. Your capability is done through, you become more capable through your learning, through the experiences. The other thing that, when you're focusing on skills improvement is giving them on-the-job practical experience. So that's where cross-training can take place. That's where job shadowing takes place. And you also can assess capability through there. When I think about independent schools, I think that the great thing about independent schools compared to other organizations is that they are learning environments. They're so committed to learning and enhanced learning. So I think what schools need to do is really embrace a culture where there's regular skills assessment, where employees can feel safe to say, I need the next level of training in Excel, or we need more lunch and learns to get better on our OneNote work, or on our marking programs. So assessing where things are and how proficient things are, how efficient things are, that's where you can move forward in schools.
Val, if I'm hearing you too, there's really positive or generative tension here between what people are capable of and then what they have the capacity for as well. And you've talked about executive coaching. And I know that there are a couple of case schools that are now bringing in executive coaches with their admin teams, but also with their middle managers and even some of their teachers.
Yeah.
So how is this shift in conversation away from assessment towards capacity building and capability building, how is that changing the nature of what our schools do?
I think it's a very positive change. I think it's a very positive culture change, but I think it's a little bit more innovative and proactive. With the traditional performance assessment processes, it was kind of what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. With understanding capacity and capability and getting very good executive coaching, it moves you to a space where you can focus on not so much what am I doing right or wrong, but how am I going to make things better? How am I going to perform better? How am I going to be my best self at work? And if I'm my best self at work, how are the other employees? How are we at our best when we're a team? So when you have executive coaching processes, you can take a look at something like capacity and capability. The difference being capacity is really the bandwidth that you have in the job, given the number of accountabilities or responsibilities that you have. And capability is really your ability to get it done. You can have a defeating situation if you're very capable, but you don't have enough capacity. And that's where coaching, it plays a great role in taking a look at that job and how it fits within the team. And does it make sense that you're very capable of doing something, but you're never able to get to it because you don't have the capacity in the role? So then you start to get into conversations around efficiency and where your time is allocated, given your certain skill set. So you could take an extreme situation if you have a CEO or a CFO that's spending their time doing something that is completely ineffective use of their skill set, then you have someone very capable who is their capacity is being used ineffectively. So now you start to have overlap between job descriptions and responsibility and capabilities. And that's where executive coaching or even a coaching format is so much more effective, taking a look at someone's capability and taking a look at their job versus just doing a performance assessment of what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah. That's great.
How do schools inventory their talent capability, and what should schools do to be kind of proactive in their awareness of what they have?
That's a really, really good question. I think you don't have to do a complicated one, but I think doing a training needs assessment is really an effective process. And that can be done through a general questionnaire. It doesn't have to be a complicated survey, but a very general questionnaire where you're asking people themselves, do you have the tools that you need to do the job every day? Do you feel that you're trained effectively to do the job you need to do? Do you feel that you're using your skill set to the best of your ability and it's relevant for the work that you're doing? If you've got a web developer that never feels that they're using all of their training and all of their expertise in their job, then there's going to be some frustration there. And there's a capability resource that the school's not using, right? Same thing with teachers. So a training needs assessment is when you go out and you ask employees, you ask your team those questions. At the same time, you need to ask management those questions of their team. And then you do an analysis to see where are things aligned and where maybe they're not. If you have a manager that's saying, I don't have anybody that's capable enough to process X or to complete Y, but then their team feels the opposite, then you've got some gaps there to cover. But there are some questionnaires, some surveys, some discussions that you can have so that you can do a training needs assessment, and you can do it more very specific to ask sort of what are the certifications that people have and what are their training, if somebody's certified at a certain level of something, and also where they feel their knowledge and experience might be. We did a training needs assessment last year at Appleby, and we realized that there was a huge demand and frustration with something like Excel. More people wanted training and they felt they could be more efficient in a lot of their work. In our training needs assessment, we found that our director of finance was probably one of the most experienced Excel. He's so knowledgeable. He runs our lunch and learns. So then you take somebody that's very experienced and now he's helping develop the training and the capability within the organization, within the school. He's raising that capability for people. So that's
great.
one way of doing it.
That's a great example.
Yeah, so you've given us a lot to think about, and we're going to close this off shortly. But thank you so very much for your time and energy. You mentioned Appleby, but now we know that you're moving on from Appleby a little bit. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're heading into?
Yes, I'm really excited. I'm leaving Appleby after 14 years, but I've joined a partner, Melinda Harrison, and the two of us are going to be. We've started an organization called Teal & Co. And the focus of the business is really to partner with organizations and people to get them to their top performing area and to their best selves. So it's about connecting great people with great organizations and making sure that they have the programs and the tools that are exemplary in order to take them to the level of performance that they want to be. So I'm really excited about doing that. And we'll have our website up and running with information soon, and people will be able to contact me at val@tealandco.com.
So we'll put that in our Google Plus page and in the comments as well. That's very exciting because you bring a lot of expertise and passion. So on behalf of Justin and I, thank you so much for all the time and energy you've put into these conversations. And we look forward to your expertise with Teal & Co.
Okay, thank you so much. I hope to do more work with the schools and with you guys on your Project 2051. I think what you're doing is amazing. So thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome. Okay. And to all viewers, stay tuned. The National Leaders Conference is coming up in April, May, and the Project 2051 conversations will continue there, and we'll be posting things to the Google Plus page around that shortly. So thanks, Val. You've been awesome.
Thanks.
And, we'll see you soon.
Okay, thanks. Take care.